You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome as we launch into the second hour of BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance, and this is a show about local businesses and business networking. And we are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. So we have a new guest to BaaD Radio. Please welcome Haley Cook with East Coast Title and Escrow.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, pull that a little bit closer, and you would think that I would be able to not stumble over a simple name like Haley Cook, but like I said, I trip over everybody's names. So.
It looks too easy. It's fine.
So thank you so much for being a guest today. When I reached out to you, I was so excited that you were like, yeah, I can make that work. And before the show started, I was like, I think it's important for people to understand the role of a title agency and the importance of it. And people might be like, oh, well, that's not really sexy to listen to. But in the world that we live in today, especially with the younger generation coming up and talking about making their first purchases, whether it's, a lot of them, I feel bad for some of the Gen Z because of the Florida market, just because of the pricing. But I think it's important for them to understand the importance. So before we jump into all of that, though, so tell me a little bit about how you got into this line of work.
Absolutely. So this is actually something that I've done my entire life. My mother, Becca, has actually been in the industry for 25 plus years. So I started out, I'm very short, I'm 4'11", but by then I was like 3 foot tall. Oh, I'm so short. But I started out super young. I was shredding papers. Then she kind of just worked me into being a receptionist, and I can do the whole process start to finish. So it's really been my whole life. But as far as a career, since I graduated in 2014, so going on 11, 12 years now, I've been in the industry.
Right. So, okay. But I could tell just by talking to you when we met the other night that you're passionate about it.
Absolutely.
You're not just like, oh, well, my mom did it, so I'm doing it too, right?
No, it's super important. I think this is, as many people can agree, buying a home is one of the biggest transactions anybody will do. It's very emotional. It's not just transactional for me. And I love just, walking people through that process and helping them. I think it's very rewarding to me. So.
Okay. So is East Coast the company that you work for? Or is that the one that your mom kind of built?
Yes.
Okay.
So we March, we're almost at 2 years of being open.
Oh my God,
so,
congratulations.
Yes,
so that's amazing.
You. Yeah. She opened 2 years ago. So it is Becca's company, and one day will be mine. We're looking at like a 5 to 7 year to where she wants to be out. She's like, I want to retire and you just take it over. So that's the goal.
Well, that's kind of cool. That's kind of like what Ann and I've got going over here with BaaD Marketing, is that we're going to build it up, and then I'm going to retire, and then she's going to run it, right?
There you go. Family businesses.
I know, right? That's what it's all built about. So how did your mom get into it? And I'm just curious let's just tell everybody what a title agency is first. Okay, so how would you describe the role that it plays in the home buying?
I would say we are the piece that is going to make sure that this property is yours. In fact, at the time, that we go through the process, we are making sure it's free and clear. There's no hiccups that can complicate things or come back to where it's now your problem to take care of. We make sure that, yes, you in fact own the property free and clear. There's no encroachments, no liens, no anything like that. That is what our job is to do.
Mm-hmm. And so I own my house, right?
Yes.
And I want to sell it. And I hire a realtor. And where does the title agency come into the whole? And I found a seller, and I'm going to sell it.
Yes, absolutely. So at the point that title comes in is whenever that property goes under contract. So when you have a buyer for your property, we would then be sent the contract and start by ordering our title search. And that's going to pull any type of judgments or anything that's going to cloud title.
So tell me what that would be. You mentioned judgments, you mentioned liens. What is all that?
So judgments are going to be your mortgages, anything, it can be child support, anything that you still owe money on is typically going to come up, anything that can attach to the property. Liens are going to be more such as if you have a utility lien. HELOC would be a judgment, yes, absolutely. Okay. That would show up on our title commitment as that.
An old electric bill?
That could come up on the lien side. It just depends, and that comes by different municipalities. Some municipalities will lien, some won't. So it gets very hairy.
You could have a lien on your house from an old water bill you forgot to pay.
And it is very common, actually, more with utilities and water. Yes, absolutely. Where municipalities will not, it won't follow the property, and those follow the homeowner. So in those cases, they won't necessarily attach. So it's it depends on the municipality on which will actually stick to the property or not. But yes, there is something a balance can carry for years.
What is the weirdest hiccup that you've ever encountered?
Oh man, I mean, I've had some crazy ones. I mean, we see.
You said child support.
Child support, yes. So child support is huge. That actually, I've seen it break deals and us not close because child support trumps everything, including the mortgage. So you can think, I mean, especially in the market that we're in right now, most people can't buy another home unless they sell the one that they're in. So in this specific circumstance, that's pretty much what happened. Was child support came up, but there wasn't enough proceeds at the end where this person can purchase the home. So it just kind of fell apart. And
the person trying to sell the house owed so much in child support that, wow.
Yes, it is big. I mean, we see crazy stuff. We could see crime if it comes back and you still owe the state or the county and any type of restitution it comes back. I mean, there are some really interesting things that definitely come back.
So they have stake to the property.
Yep.
How does that even work? I mean, okay, so you said you ordered the search. What does the search entail?
So we order a title search. Any title company has underwriters. Us specifically, we have 3, just because we believe in don't keep all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
And our underwriter is the one who actually does the title search. And so once they complete the search, which is them searching the county, the property, the homeowner's name, and they usually search surrounding counties because sometimes things can be recorded in surrounding counties as well. And once they're done doing that search, they send us what is called a title commitment. And that is like our Bible in title. That is what tells us what we have to clear to be able to issue title insurance. And if it's not clear, then we can't. And that means that the new homeowner is not getting it free and clear. So we work on those things. Like when the judgments come back, if there's mortgages that have to be paid off, we order payoffs and things like that. So that would be.
So do you ever go to the seller and say, do you want to, I mean, most of the time, do they pay whatever that lien or whatever it is off with proceeds from the sale of the house?
Typically, yes. I mean, most judgments that come up, the homeowner knows what it is. I mean, it can even be if you had work done, if you had a contractor come in and you had work done, you didn't pay them. Now they, put a judgment on your property. It could be anything. But most cases, the homeowner knows and they just pay it and it comes out of the proceeds.
Right. And can that be like an excruciating long process sometimes?
Not necessarily. I think if there's a loan involved, we can usually close within a month and a half. It's typically depending on the lender, but cash deals we can turn in 10 days.
Mm-hmm. So cash is still king, eh?
Yes, cash is king.
No matter what. No, it doesn't matter the day and the age. It's still the top of the banner there. So, okay. Well, all right. So your job is to make sure that person or that whatever can sell this property clean and clear.
Correct.
So what happens if the title what happens if that doesn't happen in the sale proceeds and then does the person that bought it absorb that? I mean, or is it now their problem?
So are you talking in regards to if there's a title company involved and they miss it?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, that is where if we miss something, we've issued a title insurance policy on it. And at that point, if it really truly was, I mean, you could see the record date and it was during our process before our close date, then our E&O would have to pay it out. Whatever. I mean, it would end up being something on our insurance because we told you it was free and clear. So on that, we would catch that.
Right. Okay. Yep. Well, that makes it very important. It makes you very vested, I can imagine, that you don't give those out lightly.
No, we definitely do our research. And that's another reason why we have multiple underwriters, just so we can get different opinions because there's different attorneys, that work with each underwriter. So.
Okay. So that's all I never even really understood all of this myself. So I know that I'm asking a lot of very pinpoint questions, but it's pure curiosity.
No, it's great. This is stuff that everybody needs to know because, I mean, you just never know. I've had a client actually call me earlier this week who bought a vacant lot from a friend and didn't get title insurance, and there was other people on the property, and they have now passed. So now we're looking at probate, and it's just, it can be really bad.
Wow. All right. Well, that music means that we're going to go to break. So we'll be right back. We've got more BaaD Radio coming up. Welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Okay, everyone, the big game is over. You could hear everybody crying across the United States that football season is now over. But you know what? There's no reason to be upset because there's still sports on, and you can still go to Frogger's and enjoy all of their amazing food where everything is fresh, never frozen. And they have 4 great locations. So there's Altamont Springs, there's Apopka, Oviedo, and Altamont. What did I say? Altamont Springs? So there's Oviedo, Altamont, Apopka, and Mount Dora. Don't forget about Mount Dora. So that's Frogger's Grill and Bar. Hop in with food and fun.
Yeah, boy.
So we're here with Haley Cook, and she's with East Coast Title and Escrow, and I kind of have been nitpicking. What is this and what is this about title? But I mean, honestly, like I said earlier, it's true. Out of true curiosity, is like what goes into, because buying and selling property is like crazy confusing.
Yes.
I mean, you have, when you're said and done, you literally are handed a packet that's like this thick, full of documents, and
Absolutely.
it's not like you're going to sit there and read all that stuff. So you have to like find the companies that you can trust. So going back to all of that stuff, you mentioned a situation where somebody had bought a piece of undeveloped land or something like that,
Yes.
and they bought it from a friend. Now, you said there's people on the property. Are you talking about like squatters?
No, like as far as on title, like they own a portion of that lot, but because she didn't go through a title company and it was from a friend, she just thought that now it was hers. But now when she wants to sell, it turns out that she's not the only owner, that there's multiple owners on there.
So what happened? Did the seller, her friend, just forget, oh, by the way, you know, I bought this piece of property with, my ex-wife or something?
It could have been that she just maybe wasn't a good friend and left that out, or it could have been that the friend didn't go through a title company and she didn't even know. It's just, it's so
Wow.
crucial. It's things that can follow the chain of title all the way.
What happened? So you said it goes to probate. What does that exactly mean?
So probate happens whenever you have somebody who's passed away, who owns a property, if it wasn't deeded properly.
Okay, so you're saying that the person that was on the title that owned a piece of it had passed away. Okay, I understand now.
Yep.
Okay, so it goes to probate, and then what?
And so then once it goes through probate, and here's where it gets tricky, because now she thinks that, okay, we'll go through probate and then I can sell it. But that's not necessarily the case, because these owners who did pass, if they had kids, if they have a surviving spouse, they're due a portion.
What a mess.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
It can be very bad.
Does that happen often?
I don't think as much these days. We still see it, absolutely, but I think as far as title industry, even attorneys, I think we've done a very good job of making people aware. I think now it's important for the younger generation. I think spread the word to them is what needs to happen, because all of us people who have been in the industry, we know we've seen some things. So
Sometimes I think that people don't even really understand what a title is.
I get people who are like, "Oh, you do cars," or they'll think I say tile. Yes.
I mean, a title is basically a document that says that you're the real owner of this property.
Absolutely.
How do you deal with forgery, though? I mean, how do you stop forgery? Because is it still a written document?
I would say forgery is not. I don't know about forgery being a big deal. I would say the fraud is definitely out there and very active. Us as a title company, vacant lots, we have a specific process that we do, because vacant lots are huge for fraud. Fraud owners just selling, turning for a quick buck, and then it really wasn't theirs the whole time.
Oh, wow.
So we will actually mail a letter to the mailing address that's on record, like for the property appraiser of the owner, and make sure that they know what's going on. Because it's out there. We've seen, it's funny, the type of pictures that get sent for driver's license and stuff, where you can just tell. You could just tell. And
You're like, that's a swindler.
Absolutely.
Wow. So who hires you, the buyer or the seller?
It can be either.
Okay.
Typically, it would be the seller, and because the listing agent, typically in our market, the sellers who picks title. It can be very different. Up in Pensacola, it's a lot of buyer picks title. I know Miami-Dade, it's buyer picks title, but for us here, Central Florida, it is predominantly the seller. but everything's negotiable. So
Okay, so the seller. So do you align yourself with specific realtors? Is that how you work, or I mean, is it usually when you say the seller usually has somebody representing them, right?
Correct. And most
yeah.
most consumers don't know title. So in essence, the listing agent knows a good title partner, and that's who they're referring their client to. Is typically how it goes.
But I mean, is that kind of like your bread and butter is aligning with realtors?
Yes, realtors is the main portion. Yes, and then lenders, of course, are good for me too. But majority realtors.
All right. Okay, so that's why you decided to join BNI, huh?
Yes.
How long have you been in BNI?
Oh gosh, I'm on my second year now, and
Okay.
I drink the Kool-Aid.
I
I
do too.
love BNI. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened to my business. So.
Mhm. What does your mom think about it?
Oh, she loves it. She actually was in it before me. She's who got me into it. So she did it and was like, this is a must for our business.
Right, because a title is actually becoming one of those seats in a chapter that's hard to get your hands on. Which chapter are you in?
I am now in BNI Platinum.
And where's that?
That we meet at the Winter Park Golf Course.
Okay, on what's the date? I'm like
Oh,
drilling in.
Tuesdays.
It's just-
Tuesday at 8 to 9:30.
All right, that's the same time as mine because we're gonna have to like split sometime where we switch. You go to mine, I go to yours, so we can meet everybody in there.
Absolutely.
Oh, we do have title though, but yeah, like I said, that's one of those things. So just hang on to that seat, girl, because like I said, in order to get some of those seats, you have to like launch your own chapter.
Oh yeah,
Title's one of
absolutely.
them.
I got lucky joining this one, but I'm going on my second year now. I've only visited one other chapter because they didn't have a title seat. So that'll tell you how hot the seat is.
Yeah, well, for me because I'm under marketing agency, and so that actually is very generalized. And so like I work with people that like I can source out, like I source a lot out, like as far as like video works or this, you know what I mean? So it's like when somebody comes and they have a need, then I can figure out if we can't do it in house, then I can like
Refer
right now
them.
I'm doing a thing where we're doing like an auto signature and all this other stuff. Well, that's outside of my capability. So I use somebody else in BNI, and I'm like, here, John, how much did it cost to do this? But anyway, we get it all done, and BNI has been just amazing at being able to connect with people that can get the job done.
And the support. And the support. I can say we're in 25 now. Wow. In 2024, the events that I did, my BNI, they were there. They were there to support me, invite people. So, yes.
Tell me about your events.
Ooh. So I mostly put on events to add value to realtors, of course, because I think this industry, it's fast evolving. There's always things changing. So it's very important to keep up with what's going on. So it's just, whether it's I do a fetch training with farming for agents.
What is that? What did you just say?
I know it's a third language. So basically it is a farming tool where agents can prospect consumers who, instead of, let's say, door knocking, that most people don't like to do, a whole neighborhood, what we'll do is we have a farming platform that has access where it'll show if people just went through a divorce, if they went through probate, things like that are more trigger leads for, hey, they're probably going to have to sell now. So it's kind of a platform for that.
When you say farmer, you're not talking, I meant, like I said, so you're teaching
like
people.
prospecting.
Okay, so
yes.
it's a prospecting tool.
Yes.
All right, very cool.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit less invasive than door knocking, I would suggest.
It's more direct. It's, instead of you, like I said, door knocking the whole thing, it's putting, how do I word it? It's getting you where you need to be without wasting so much time, really. It's giving you more people who are more likely to sell than just somebody who may have just bought 2 years ago.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, well, that's really interesting because I kind of figured as a title agency, you align with the realtors and the lenders, and you let them send you business. But you have to be more aggressive than that, huh?
Well, partnerships. We are big on partnerships because we know that we can't grow and be successful unless our agents are. And as difficult for title companies, I mean, we do have a lot of competition, but think about the agents. I mean, we're nowhere near. So to partner with them, I mean, you build that relationship and it helps them grow, which then helps you grow.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, so has the realtor craze slowed down at all in Florida?
I think we have weeded out some people who just saw big checks. But for the most part, I think we're getting there. We are definitely getting to, yes, the people who work.
Right. Well, I know it goes fast, but we're going to go to break. And when we get back, we're going to pick up on this conversation. So everybody stay tuned. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Premier Couples Superstore. So if you didn't do so good for Valentine's, now is the time to make it up to your honey by a trip to Premier Couples Superstore, because they have a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. With Premier Couples Superstore, you're not going to pay those high prices because you're going to go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, baby. Premier has been a great sponsor for me since the day I started. But they don't want to ever come in on the show, so that's why the when you hear the music coming out, it's like that's Emily Murphy, if you know her in BNI.
Yes,
that's her voice. So that's why they're part of all of what we call the rejoins. Because I don't know, they've never wanted to come in and do an interview. It's like, what are we going to talk about for an hour?
You find the things.
Oh, the program director is going, no. So we're here with Haley, and she is. We're talking title. So where did we leave off in regards to? Like I said, I know I'm always like, I like the juicy stuff. So I'll be like, tell me about some of the funny things that have happened. But on the serious side, title is very serious. I mean, very important when it comes to buying and selling property.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I was thinking about too is how you tie in with like attorneys and things like that. So is like a probate attorney or that sort of thing somebody that you guys network well with as well? Or is that just something that's not really something that you work with?
I would say we love probate attorneys, real estate attorneys. I love networking with them because those are things that as a title with my company we can't handle. So having the good referral partner is important for me and my clients too. So if I can't help them, hey, I have somebody that I trust. So we most definitely love partnering and networking with.
So sometimes you have to suggest the attorney for probate if something comes up and you're like, oh, well, you know what, we can't. Once it goes to the attorney, then does it usually take a really long time?
No, I mean, I think we've definitely gotten better with probate. When I started in title, I mean, a decade ago, it definitely was a longer process where you are looking at 6 to 9 months for probate to be completed. Now it's really more on like the 3-4 month side.
Okay.
It just depends on how complicated. But it doesn't blow up a deal. It just kind of pauses it because then the probate attorney will take it and find out who's owed what, who has an interest, and then send that back to us, and then we complete from there.
Right. So they take it to whatever the judge, and the judge will make a ruling on it, and then you have to just make good on whatever the judge says, and then you can move forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so that just like makes me, I understand like the steps now. So we were talking about events before we went to break. So you said that your BNI chapter comes. So what other type of events you put on? I'm happy to come and be a part.
Yeah, absolutely. We do, like I said, a lot of CE credits for agents because they need that. So typically I'll bring in a speaker. It could be my underwriter, it could be my lender partners. Things like I've had a lender teach what's in a rate, which is just something that you don't necessarily think of because it's just like, okay, rates are what they are. But to understand what makes a rate, it's very interesting. So that's probably the most recent class I did. That's been.
So you said a what unit? It's like it's like an education unit?
Yes.
And who has to get those?
So CEs, realtors do. They have to have a certain amount of credits, education credits a year. I don't know what that amount is.
It's okay. I won't ask you.
I know that they do, and it has to be like right now. I think it's by the end of March. They have to have a certain amount, and then it comes back around in September too. So they're always looking for classes that offer CE credits, but they have to be CE approved. So not just any class.
How did you get
to
be CE approved?
So that wasn't me. That's where I bring in my speakers. It's typically my lender partners that'll come in or my underwriters that they have gotten it CE approved. Becca does teach red flags in real estate that I believe she got CE approved now.
Right. So. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah. And is that something they pay for and then they can take the class and to get their...
In certain places, people will charge. I know for us, we don't charge for our classes, but there are certain coaches and stuff that probably teach classes that would charge, but not for us.
Yeah, I would be like $5, girl. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that's really neat. I think that it's really cool that you provide that service, especially if it's something that realtors have to have. All right, so BNI has been great for you. It sounds like you're very active, like outside of just sitting in the office and doing that. So is that your major role?
So my whole 10 years of being in title, I have mainly been behind the desk working the files. It wasn't until actually Becca opens up the company that she was like, you need to be the face of the company. I need you out. You have the personality. So I started, I believe, at the beginning of last year in the business development role. And it's been awesome. I've learned a lot for sure. And I take people out to lunch and dinner and for cocktails. So it's a lot of fun.
You're like, it doesn't stink to be in my role.
Right. Like I'm okay with the change. And it actually gives me more of a chance to build on the relationships with my agents too and be more hands-on than just strapped to a desk with files.
Right.
So I trust my staff to work the files. So that's good too to have a staff that you can trust.
Oh,
to do the job right.
absolutely. How big is where's your office at and how big is it?
The one that I work in is in Winter Park, and for the company, we have a total of 7 employees.
So do you have multiple branches?
Yes, we have Winter Park, Pensacola, and New Smyrna.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yes, we grew quickly, but we stay small because we want to be that boutique title company that can really be hands-on. We don't want somebody to call and get passed to 20 different people. Like who you call, they can help you.
That's the way I feel about BaaD marketing too. And it's so hard because you're farther along than we are, but being able to find the right people that you said, you're like, I trust my staff. That's huge.
It's been hard. That's what I will say. These days it is very hard to find good working people, but we got it now. So.
Right. Well, because like you said, you want to be able to delegate, but then you have to be careful who you delegate to, because that's something I'm struggling with, is because I need to bring people on, but I'm not ready to let go of the
I think the let go is hard.
Uh-huh.
I don't even let go all the way. I just had somebody call me yesterday. Who do I send this contract to? This person, but copy me on it, please.
Right. Keep me looped.
I have to have eyes. Yes.
Right. Keep me looped on all things. Well, and then also, so you're in BNI. What other type of networking things do you do? Because you did come to my Business at a Distance networking event at Froggers and Oviedo, and I love that you came. We had a really good turnout.
Yeah, absolutely.
But are you out and about all the time?
So yes, that is my goal. I love events. I go to the basics, Real Estate Connections. I'm part of CCIM, which is a commercial networking group for commercial agents. I'm part of that, but I'm always looking for more. I'm one of those, I'm on Facebook looking for events, Meetup, Eventbrite, just whatever can help grow my business and really just get my brand and my name out there. That's what's important.
I used one of your posts for Melanie Kayali.
Yes.
I shared it on her LinkedIn page because we do our social media management for that page. So is that something that title companies do little congratulation posts?
We like to. We try to do things that help stand us apart, and that is one of them. I do marketing pieces for any file that comes through our office, and it's really just for every step of the process. We want to celebrate on every step. It is hard what agents do, so we definitely, especially the congrats, I think that's really important because right now so many transactions cancel. So to get it to that finish line successfully, they definitely deserve the congratulations.
Well, Melanie's amazing, and
she's so phenomenal. Yes.
Yeah, in the commercial world, so the whole time we've been talking, I didn't think about commercial. I was just thinking about homes. Yeah. What is that like? And do you obviously do commercial and residential?
Yes, we do both residential and commercial. Becca handles all commercial because she's our bulldog. She's our title queen. She knows it all. So, but yes, I that is something that I am trying to step into this year, is more on the commercial side. Melanie is phenomenal. She's connected me with a lot of different connections that would be good for me, along with Chris. He's in BNI too. And they've kind of...
Is it Chris that's in charge of all the social get-togethers?
With Elevation, yes. He's
Wise? Anyway, go ahead. Sorry. I know who you're talking about. He's on the regional team with me.
Yeah. Well, he... and it's really... They have encouraged me to kind of step into it because, I'm big on social media. I try and post and everything. And yesterday I posted about imposter syndrome. And it is such a real thing, but it's something that I've felt a little here and there. But yesterday it was beating me down. And they are just people who encourage me. And, you belong where you are. So they've really pushed me towards, okay, you can do the commercial side. So.
All right. I saw that. I have to admit, I read it. I was like, go girl. But I saw Melanie comment on it. So, all right. I'm looking at the clock and we're going to break again. Ooh. So everybody stay tuned. We have more BaaD Radio coming up. Welcome back. And I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsors, Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business, as well as Get Me Automated. Ashley and her team are ready to make your life easier through automation. So we're here with Haley Cook with East Coast Title and Escrow. And we kind of bounced all over the place, but lots of times that's just the way my brain works. So sorry. But during the break, I was like, okay, so we have one more segment. And really what my goal is to be able to make it so to provide you with content that can be used on your socials, but as well as getting your name out there and getting more business. So you mentioned earlier that title is a pretty competitive market.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you do other than the events? Because I don't know if everybody does the events or the congratulations. So those are two things right there that I can see really set you apart. But what about some of the tools?
Yeah, I would say East Coast Title is big, and this is kind of one of the things that makes me lucky to have my mother, who's been in the industry for 25 plus years, is she's seen the good, bad, and ugly, and she was able to kind of bring it to our company now and really capitalize on that. So we have really a lot of support tools for our agents. Like I said earlier, we know that if our agents aren't successful, then we're not going to be. Mm-hmm. So we put things in place, like me specifically. Well, we'll talk about the tools first, then we'll go specifically. So tools, we have like a ready to list program, which basically, if you don't know, right now houses are sitting on the market for quite some time. Mm-hmm. It's taking a little bit to move. So we will actually order the title search and lien search and start clearing all those judgments and liens that you don't want on there when you're buying a home up front. So then by the time it does go on a contract and we find a buyer, it's clear and it's ready to go, and we can easily close faster that way.
Okay, so you're being proactive for houses that are on the market. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of really smart.
Yes. Uh-huh. And then we also have a photographer who we work with in this area who has agreed to let the listing photos be paid at the time of closing. And really the reason behind that is not all real estate agents are out here making big bucks. Some of us are, really struggling and everything. So that just makes it to where a lot of people don't realize agents pay for a lot of stuff up front. Mm-hmm. So this just makes it to where, okay, they don't feel that hit until commission. Mm-hmm. So now their commission's coming, we could just deduct it from that, but then it's not coming straight out of their pocket from the front end. So we do a lot of things like that. And then we co-brand.
It's really nice to take care of you're taking care of your agents.
Oh, yeah. We definitely try, and it's the caring portion, because there's other people who are like, oh, whatever, that's what they do, or they think that amount on their commission check is going all to them, and it's like they have to recoup things that they've already paid for, right? And mm-hmm. I mean, some people don't have more transactions coming down the line, so that is what they need for 6 months. So we definitely try and help out with partnerships, like with our photographers and things like that. And then it's really just, we are a partner. I'm very hands-on with my agents. Me specifically check in with my agents every Monday. And it's just hey, how's it going? Do you need anything from me? And that's really just to let them know that I'm here. I'm here for you. And, some people might think it's like spammy, but I have agents where it's like, actually, I was right now just struggling with something, if you could help. And so I'm always there. I'm always available 24/7. My cell phone's available. And I love being part of it. I would say I do, market planning with my agents. I do brainstorming sessions, because sometimes we can get in a rut and just like, oh, we're stuck. There's so many things up in the brain. Don't know what, how to put it on paper. So I'll actually meet with them and we'll get it on paper. We'll come up with a plan. So I think it's really just being a soundboard, being an ear, just always being available to our agents. And that's something that we really, strive for.
You've said our agents are, so are they under contract with you, or is it like, okay, this is my preferred vendor?
It's preferred vendor. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that's interesting. So, but you always want to be the one that's like at the top of mind awareness.
Absolutely.
So when that time comes, they're like, oh, we got to call Haley.
Yeah. And there's a lot of competition, and that's where, you could be working with a title company for 20 years, but if they got comfortable and they're not doing the things out of the box that other mm-hmm. title companies are doing, there's things that can benefit really the agent's business that other people aren't doing. So I would definitely say yes. That's why the weekly text messages are big, and just making sure that I am there. So, and they know if there's something that, happens or they don't necessarily like, we talk through it. And because at that point I've earned that trust. Mm-hmm. So It's huge.
Right. So you support the realtors, and then in return, they bring the business to you and you help them through that. So you make them look good.
Yes, absolutely.
And I can imagine that goes a long way. So would you you don't sponsor the realtor, but I mean, like when there's new ones that are coming up and you're like, okay, I can see a lot of potential in this person. I mean, do you invest time?
Oh, absolutely.
New realtors?
I actually love new realtors. I think a lot of the tools that East Coast Title does have is going to be, it is more beneficial for newer agents who don't know where to begin. Like that's where our farming stuff comes from. And I think the one-on-one that we do is really important in situations like that.
I would have a hard time going to a new realtor because I can only imagine how hard it would be for somebody to go to a new realtor. And when there's so many in the market that have decades and decades of experience.
Yeah.
But then again, what you said,
Yep.
they can get complacent, and because they have so much money rolling in and all of these different clients, you might not get that full experience.
Right.
Do you ever go with the new realtor to meet with a client and talk things through so they have that kind of support? Or are you just kind of like the cheerleader on the side?
I'm just kind of like the cheerleader on the side. There are things that us as East Coast Title will do to help. Like if our agents are going to a listing appointment, I can pull like a property sheet so they have all the information up front and bring that so it looks a little bit better going into a listing appointment.
Mm-hmm. What is a listing appointment now?
So that is the agent has not gotten the listing. Basically, some seller has reached out to them and talked about, hey, I'm interested in selling my home. So this is the agent going to meet this seller, and they're like, okay, let's talk about it. Let's see,
Okay, I got you.
Yes, and then if they agree, then they sign that. And
Is that how it works with commercial as well? Because like to me, commercial seems like it would be such a harder like thing to do because of all. I mean, with buildings and codes and everything like that, that would like makes my brain hurt thinking about it, actually.
Oh, yeah. No, that side is definitely way more complex. I will say from a title aspect, it's commercial, of course, takes longer to close, but it's kind of we're doing the same stuff. It's basically title's going to do our normal process, clear everything, and then usually with commercial, it's kind of sit and wait. And once everybody else tells us, green light, we're going, then we go ahead and go to.
Right. Well, I guess this was kind of nice is that you have so many different people that are working with you. Is that if your team is taking care of you, like I said, you're not in it all by yourself.
Right. No, it definitely, real estate takes a village. There is so many different moving parts, and it's really, just like when we first started talking, and title insurance is so important. If we miss anything, that can be really detrimental. Like that's just, it's not a good thing.
The one thing you said multiple times that I did not know about is title insurance. So you're basically saying I'm clearing this property, so I'm giving you insurance that if something goes wrong, we're on the hook for it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's kind of, that gives the buyer peace of mind. It's like, hey, okay, so I've got this tells me that they did what they were supposed to, and then if for whatever reason a title missed something, then yes, it comes back on them and they have to clear whatever that judgment looks like.
Wow. See, I never realized that that's what it was. I just thought it was like you have to get the title search done. I didn't realize it was like an insurance thing. But that's crazy. I learned something very new today. And then I just had a question. Oh, my God. I just looked at the clock and it's ticking. And I know. It like went away. So I guess really ultimately, so that's title insurance. I don't know. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? We still have like another minute, but I want to make sure people can get in touch with you. So give us the long version of all your contact information.
Absolutely. So you can reach me at my cell phone. It's 386-478-6121. And then my email is Haley, HALEY, at eastcoasttitlefl.com.
Very, very nice. And you can also contact me to get in touch with her. Do you have any events coming up in the near future?
I actually do have a home inspector class starting February 25th at 10 a.m. at Sile Insurance in Altamont.
Okay, so that's for, is that also education units kind of?
So, yes. So that is for realtors to come, and it's basically helping you with what to expect when an inspector comes to a home.
Very nice. Well, look at you go. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up today. So thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to our sponsors. And you guys just have a great week, and remember to support local.